Good evening. It's Cindy Fodor here with Stamp the Love, and it's Make It Monday. This is a class version, so this is pre-recorded, but I hope that you'll still follow along, comment, and make sure you stay to the end because I have some extra projects to show you. I do have 4 projects, so I will work quickly as I can through them so that I won't hold you up too long, and you can always pause and go back if you need to. After the live button is off, you can pause it and copy if you want. Before I start, I just want to mention that for this month's product of the month, we have this beautiful die cut. It's called I Love Blooms, and you can add that to an order of $75 or more. It's just $5. So make sure your order hits $75 after you have taken off any rewards that you want to use. Okay, so it still has to stay at $75 even if you've taken off any rewards, and then you can add this for $5. Okay. The other thing is you can still purchase the virtual album retreat. The actual live event, I want to say live, not live, but virtually live, is April 29th to May 1st. And there will be 7 hours of crafting each day, but there'll be recordings as well, so you can do it later if that date doesn't suit you. And the date doesn't suit me, so I ordered mine. I think I highlighted on my last video, and so I'm very excited to do that again because their classes are fabulous. And of course they have new product in them, so that's always fun. All right, so are you ready to get started on this week's projects? I do want to just mention that if you didn't make it to class, you could possibly still earn a packet of these projects if you place an order online at $50 or more. That's good up until like the 15th of the month, and then I have to cut that off because I can't promise that anyways. If I have some left, I will definitely mail you one. But yeah, I can't promise it after the 15th just because they might be gone by then. All right, here we go. Let's pop over to the next screen. Okay, for our first card, I'm going to show you how I made this card. I actually copied the layout from a swap that I got, and I believe Marcia Gay is the one that had designed it, and it was using the Delightful Details paper. And I was already using that for several other projects, so I decided to pull out this paper. And this is from the Petals of Beauty suite. I'm using the Petals of Beauty stamps and dies for this card. And I will give you my measurements here because that's the hardest part of doing these pieced things is figuring out what works. So for my long pieces, and I have 2 of each of 2 designs for the long and 2 of each of 2 designs for the short. And the long ones are 7/8 of an inch by 2 7/8, and the short ones are 7/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, so they're the same width, they're just different lengths. How's that sound? All right, and I am using the greeting. I can't find the birthday wishes because I must have used it for something else. I'm hoping I can find it before I go to class tonight. I'm using a Thinking of You, and it's from the Branching Out set, which I think has just recently hit the retiring list. All right, so let's do some stamping. I'm going to pull out my mat here, and I'm going to stamp my greeting first, and I'm using Mossy Meadow because I want to make sure I have space for that. And then I'm just going to use some of the stamps in the set. Whoops, there goes my gems. To create a look here. And I'm trying to think if I did anything else here. So I'm using Petal Pink for my pink color because it matches my cardstock. So for my solid piece, I am actually going to stamp this first. I like to stamp the darker one first. So this one, because it is less full, is going to be my dark piece. I'm going to stamp that right there. Then this one I'm going to stamp off so it's a little bit lighter, and see if I can figure out where this lines up at. Excuse my head as I try to line this up. And then you see, I can see down through there and see that dark stamp and line that up perfectly. So I don't know. That's what I find works best for me. And then there are, I'm trying to think why I have all of these on here. I really don't know why I did that. But, oh, that's because of these. Okay. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this set of three little flowers. Do I want them dark or light? I think I'm going to do them light. Where do I want them? Let's pop them up here. They're very light. So maybe I'll put some over here too. All right. I don't know if you can even see those. There you go. All right. And then these three little centers, I don't really know that I want to do them in green, but I'm not sure why I did this because it's not on my sample. You ever wonder that? Like, what was my idea? I don't think I want to do that on there. I'm going to just do the center one. I think I was not sure what I wanted to do. So I'm going to do the center one for this one. And then I'm also going to do this little set of leaves. And I'm going to just bring them out right here. And I think that will be enough. That looks really nice. I like it a lot. Okay, so then we can put this together. I'm going to clean that stamp off and put it away. So we're doing Mossy Meadows, our base. And I'm going for here as I knock everything over. And then I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down because I looked and checked to make sure my ribbon didn't need to go around it first because, you know, I don't know if you've ever done that, but I've put my layer on before I had my ribbon tacked around the back of it. All right, so now we can lay these out, and we want a long one and a long one, the other design, and then this design. And then this can get a little tricky because you want to space everything out so that it looks like it's positioned well. So I'm going to just start by scooting them like that and like this to make sure that this measurement looks good. So then I can come down here and do the same with this one. And I'm noticing that I have a lot of space in here, so I think I'm going to have to scoot these in a little bit so that, and maybe spread them apart a little bit. And when you do yours, you can adjust. I think that Marsha's measurements were a little different, but for ease of stamping, I tried to make them similar, but I'm noticing that I need to pull this down here a little bit. My border on the edge is going to be a little bit wider than the top and bottom. My hands are shaking now. Okay, let's keep these in a little bit. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now I will try not to move everything as I apply the adhesive to each one of these. And this little one, I call this the cotton one. You do want to make sure it's going the right direction. Hopefully I cut them all the right direction. So I'll just work from the outside in so that I'm not bumping everything as I go. And then by the magic of television, we have just one more to do here. All right, and then we are going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I'm going to use 5. And I'll take the outside ones off. The center one doesn't matter because it's not going to be moving. And I'm just going to center this sort of where all of these are meeting, remembering that I want to add my green stem, which, very interestingly, I failed to give myself. So let me steal one here. Okay. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons that I wanted this set, not just because the flowers are pretty, but I love these just standalone stems that you can do in a neutral color. And we'll just pop that up. I don't want to cover too much of my pretty flower there. So I'm going to just bring it up through here like this. I do want to glue that down just so that that's staying. And then I'm going to just take a glue dot. I already have my bow tied. So I'm going to stick that on here, like so. And then for our gems, these also just went on the retired list, I think. But I need some more to finish class, so I'm hoping I'm putting in a 2-day air order here in a few minutes, and hoping I can get some more of these. These are so bright and so gorgeous that, yeah, they are just gold, just a shimmery gold, not the dull type of gold. So I think that's so pretty. All right, so hopefully you like that card, and we will pop to the next one. Okay, our next card is this one. We're going to do some embossing and some coloring on vellum. I want to just show you a little trick to get some a little bit of color behind on the back of your vellum. And so we're going to do our embossing first. Oh, I am using the Friendly Foliage stamp set and dies. And this is a set that we're using for the fundraiser, or we did use, as you're listening to this, the fundraiser that we had for Sweet Grace Ministries. This was the one that we highlighted for that. So hopefully you got to enjoy that event. I'm going to start out by embossing my vellum piece. Now, I'm sure you would typically stamp and emboss this and then die cut it, but because I'm doing it for lots of people and I can't do it ahead of time, I'm using my apparatus, or I'm actually using my new Stampin' Positioner. And I just wanted to show you my new storage compartment for this that Joel made. So he is now selling these for $20. And it holds the side piece. Now, if you're watching this and you're not a demonstrator, or you didn't earn this for free by signing up as a demonstrator a few months ago, you may not have this yet. But if you were missed out on our Stamparatus, this is our new Stampin' Positioner, and it will be coming out May 5th. It will be available for purchase when the new catalog goes live. So we are going to use that. And I want to show you something cool that I figured out with this. I just put this little Post-it note on here so it wouldn't stick to the... I set this up so that my piece of paper that's going to hold, that's holding my hole to put this in, so I can position that right in there. I set this up and I punched it, so I just made little marks, and then I took a 3/16 inch punch. That's not a Stampin' Up! Punch. We don't sell these anymore. But I was able to punch the holes to stick in there. And then the little holes that come across here, I just pressed on them. And then I took it off and just took a pokey tool and pressed on the back side so that I could pop those down. And then that holds everything in place. And of course, that's not the way you'll do everything, but it works really nice for putting items in here that we want to stamp. So let's go ahead and do our embossing buddy on the vellum piece to cover all of the fingerprints and any static. Vellum is especially staticky. And then we'll first mark our stamped image. Let me just pop that back on here. And then I'll get my powder ready. And then this just goes down on here. Now, I'm still learning. This is only my first, my second time showing this. So I can set it on there and then I can just press it down. I'll just hold it down for a few seconds, make sure all the areas got pressed out. The nice thing with the Versamark though, when I lift this up, the vellum's going to come with it. So I can sort of look to make sure that everything got stamped well, so that I don't have to re-stamp it. So I can just give a little pressure around here and make sure that we got all of that. Okay. And then I'm going to peel that off. Just try to hold it by the edge. Let me just scoot this aside. I'm going to pop that on there and sit this back on here. And then we'll put our powder on here. And you can use your tweezers, unless, like mine, they have disappeared. I know I had them out for something, and I don't remember what it was. But I am going to use a clipboard, which I have somewhere here, and try not to lose all my other stuff. I'm going to use a clipboard to just clip this on the edge there. Whoops. And that way I can just heat it. I will tell you that vellum I usually heat on the low setting, but it takes way too long because I'm impatient. So I'm going to turn it on high. And hold on one second. I see shiny over here, so I feel like I missed something. Let's put a little more powder over there. Glad I saw that before we heated that too much. That would not have looked good on the card. Okay. So I'm going to turn it on high, and then I am just going to keep it up a little bit higher, and then it won't bend my vellum. If you have time and you want to do it on slow, it works great, but it definitely is slower. But I'm holding this about 3.5 inches away. All right. Let that cool for just a second. And I need to put some stuff away as I go, otherwise I have a mess. All right, let's put this powder away. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back in. And we are gonna color on the back of this with some blends. I'm using light lemon lime twist and light pretty peacock. And you can skip this. It actually, let me just show you what it looks like without. And I think it's going to be very pretty without. I guess if I turn it the right way, because that shine is so pretty. Or you can add the color. And I'm going to just toss a little color on here. And then I'm going to hope that this works as good as I thought it should. And then I'm going to spritz it. Pretty sure that I have alcohol in here. I'm going to spritz it with alcohol and just let that color run a little bit. Maybe use my fingers and just get in there. It doesn't run as much as you would think it would with alcohol, surprisingly. So you can add a little color or more color. I added a little bit more on the other one. So we're going to let that dry just a second as we put the rest of our card together. And I actually need, let me turn that over. Oh, lay that way. Okay. I actually need this to stamp on. We are going to stamp our card, just the front of it, creating a little bit of a background with one of the stamps from this set. Actually two. I have 2 leaves on here, and I'm just going to randomly stamp those across the outside here. And if you want it lighter, you can stamp it off, as I've done with this sample. All right, and then we're going to layer the embossed piece. And I think I'm just going to use liquid glue because I always have issues. Which side do I want to glue? And there's no right or wrong to this because it is whichever side you like. So I'm using the indented lines side. And then we're going to just take this length of ribbon or linen thread. Let me just tell you how long this is. It is about 20 inches long. And I'm just going to wrap it twice. And then we're just going to tie it right in the center. If you're from the east, I should say, not southeast, central, we are hitting a cold wave, so I had to move all of my plants inside. But hopefully I saved them from demise. I really want to get my garden planted, but I'm so glad I didn't put anything in yet. All right, gonna pop that on there. I really like the brightness of these leaves compared to this one. What do you guys think? So different. Okay. Next, we can put this down, and I'm gonna actually try to put dimensionals on here. It's still a little bit wet. And I think that if I use these little pieces, and this is what I did on the other one, because we have white flowers on there, I think we can hide them behind the flowers so that they don't show, or sort of hide them. I'll put them on the bigger leaves there. All right, I think that should be good. Got a couple on there. If I can get the tops peeled off. All right, like I said, it's still a little bit wet, which is not ideal, but I want to scoot this down just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Just got a little color behind there. And then we want to stamp our greeting. And I'm doing Get Well Soon. I think it's from the set. And then we're just going to give that a little angle. And again, add a dimensional or two. And I didn't put any gems on this one, however, you certainly could. But the shiny leaves really stand out well, and I don't think that you necessarily need anything else. There we go. That's it for that one. All right, let's pop to the next. All right, our next card features the Inspiring Imperfections bundle. We've used this before. I had this paper there, and I was just like, I am so wanting to use this again. And this paper is just so beautiful. And it's just a little bit different fold. It's a like a bridge fold. And so let me show you how I did this. We are going to do some stamping. And I also want to show you that this new storage tool also fits our Stamparatus. So this is the retired Stamparatus. So if you have that and you still need a source for that, I do have a slot in it in our big and tall storage. But if you don't have that and you just want a place to put this, it holds your paper in the front. I'm not sure, you could use the slot for something different, but anyways, so that's what we're using. And I have everything set up on here. I can't remember how I set it up. Because this just fell out. So give me a second here to figure out how I did this. I think it goes this way. Nope. It definitely goes this way. How did you do this, Cindy? Okay. Okay, it definitely goes this way. Let me turn this. There we go. I usually do it this way. I don't know why I thought I had done it the other way. All right, don't mind me. All right, let me just put my pieces in here. I have them all cut out. We are not embossing any of these because our designer paper is already embossed. Uh-oh, I have a flower instead of a cup. 2 flowers instead of a cup. There's a cup. There we go. That must be extras. All right, so we're going to try our new black ink. This is the first time I'm doing this with our blends. So that's why I'm stamping it now, and then I'll do the rest of the card. So this is how Jody showed us to do it, because if you try to pull it off like this, like a lid like this, it doesn't want to come off. Even though there's no hinge on it, if you open it like a compact, like you're pulling just this edge apart and bringing it back like that, it comes apart much better. All right, so I'm going to just ink these up good. This is our new hybrid pad, and I will tell you that it does stain. So if you do not like your photopolymer stamp stained, which you really don't have much choice because almost every ink stains, but our previous black did not, our memento pad. I can get these stamped good on the first shot. Ooh, nope, not good. So I did see from Patty Bennett that this ink stamps much better on our 12 by 12 white willow paper than on this paper. So there you go. There's the test. Don't love it. But I am going to go ahead and do it again just because I don't want to add a different ink on top of there right now. So let's go ahead and give it another pass and see if that gives us enough ink. If not, I will give up and go back to memento. But it worked pretty good. That one's, not too bad. All right, I think we'll go with it. I'm going to put those aside to dry for a minute. And I am going to wash this really quickly because I want to keep it from the most amount of staining that I can. Sorry for the noise. Let me just pull this out from under here and see if I can get this clean without taking all of my stuff off of here. Hold your ears if you don't like that sound. All right. I'll just use a baby wipe to dry the background on that. Okay, so we'll put that aside for a minute and I'll show you how the card goes together. So what I did was, this is a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and then I just turned it like this and I cut it at 1 1/4 inch from both ends. Just up to the score line. Okay, so this is going to be our bridge, which means that this one is going to either get cut off or glued down. I cut off the last one. I'm going to glue this one down, and we can see which we like the best, okay? Something on my glue there. And I'm going to just put my side pieces down like we did on the card last month, just to make sure that we get that positioned where it needs to be. Okay, we'll press that down good. And then this designer paper goes on top of here. So we'll have a little border. Isn't that pretty? I'm pretty sure that these are on the last chance list as well. So if you didn't get a chance to look at that yet since the beginning of this month, you might want to go check that out and make sure you don't miss out on anything that's left. There were some good deals as well. And this is Misty Moonlight, and I embossed it with the folder that goes with this set. And so these are 1 inch by 5 1/4 inches, so that we have a little border the whole way around there. Okay, so we still have this loose. Next, we're going to take this little strip and we're going to glue it underneath here. So I'm going to just sit it down here, and then I'm just going to glue on the side here where it's going to stick down, so that this, I definitely want to make sure that this comes down and doesn't overlap my edge there. So there we go. All right, so now we created that bridge. We're pretty much going to cover up the bridge with our pieces once we get them colored. So let me grab some scrap paper here, and let's see if these are, I feel a little nervous. I'm still not thrilled with how that's stamped there, but I'm hoping that the color will help it. I'm going to go ahead and dry this just a hair. All right, hopefully they're dried good enough. All right, so I am coloring, let's see, I'm using light balmy blue, and I'm going to use that for the inside here, and then the inside of this one. And I'm also going to use it on some of the flowers. Let's go ahead and do this little one here. I'm going to try to do this quickly and maybe do some as seen on TV, so that you don't have to wait so long. I'm just going to throw some light blue on the tips here, and then I'm going to come in with some, this is Blueberry Bushel Light, and I made these cards so long ago I don't remember what colors I used on them, so it's the problem when I come to do the video. It's like, what did I use? I don't remember. All right, now I'm just going to come back in with this, with the nib part, and just work that out a little bit. All right, so there's that one. Let's go ahead, actually, let's use the same one and do, oh shoot, I need 2 of those flowers, I forgot. And so does everybody. Okay, well, we're gonna do just 1. I actually did 3 on here. We're just gonna do 1 on here so that you guys can see how I colored it. How's that sound? I'm gonna go ahead and do the leaf on this one. Let's go ahead and do these as well. There's a leaf over here. I'll add a touch of green on this one. Maybe a touch up here. And then we'll bring the dark, this is Granny Apple Green. I'll bring the dark one in and just fill in some of the, and then I can come back with the light again, or you don't have to. Like, it's totally okay if you're happy with the look, then don't do it. But I don't love straight edges. I feel nervous about them, so I like to spread them out just a little bit. So there's our leaves there. We do need to get these colored in over here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the light again. Actually, I just grabbed the dark. I've done that before. I believe I remember that. Now I got the nib part, and it is definitely darker than the other end, and takes longer to color. But these are very tiny areas, and my nib is a little bit brushy, so this will be maybe a little bit better. This has a lot of waves on it. All right, I think I got them all, but I could be wrong. And I'm just going to go in here and add a touch of green. Maybe try to not get so many lines so that I don't have to fix. But I just love mixing even different colors. But that mix of shade there is what makes these blends so amazing. And uh-oh, talking too long, obviously, and my lights are starting to go out. Okay, I missed a leaf. I just saw one. I knew I was going to do that. And this isn't like it's some big picture or something. You'd think, whoops, I think I pushed hard on that tip. Wouldn't think it would be so difficult. All right, let's do the flowers quick. I'm going to start with a dark balmy blue. I'm not sure what I did, but we're going to really add a lot of dark color to this. So we'll start with the darker one. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the whole thing. And then I'm going to do this over here. I'm not sure if that's a flower, but it's going to be, because I need a third little set of blue there. And we'll come in with the light and just get some extra color on there. Some light, I meant light, but I meant light blueberry bushel. Isn't that just a beautiful blue? Love it. We also need to do this little flower down here. I'm going to go ahead and just use this dark for this whole flower. I'm not sure if it's going to make too much. And these need to be a little darker because that ink was not good. Okay. All right. And then I think I came in and did a little bit of color on these little cross hatches. And then maybe we'll put just a little bit down here at the bottom. Balmy blue on that. Okay. All right, I'm not thrilled with how, I feel like this needs more darkness to it. So I'm going to come back in here and add a little bit more color. Because we put so much dark on the other one, now this one looks really pale. Probably partly because the stamp didn't stamp well enough. Now let's go ahead and use some of this really dark in here. There we go, that helps a lot. And then maybe last, we'll pop a little bit of this on. And I got a little crazy there, so I'm just going to blend that out in a minute. Okay. All right, there we go. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how I stick the flower down in here, because if you put the flower right on top of there, it's going to look stupid. If you put it behind, it's going to look stupid. So, in my opinion, this die needed just a little hole right here at the edge. And then our flower can just tuck right in there. Or if you don't want to do that, you could just snip it off there to make it look like it ended right there because it was going inside. Okay, does that make sense? All right, let's go ahead and put this together. We're going to put this up the side here, and we're going to put our cup down here. And then I needed that other flower to go in here for sure, so I will have to stamp that. But just to give you the idea, stamp another one, do it just like that one. Or if you like the three, if you like two up here, you can do three of the flowers, and yeah, then you have your little bridge card. Okay, that's it for that one. Okay, our next and final card is this beauty. I think it's beautiful because I love the scallops. I just think that's so pretty. And we are using the Scalloped Wishes. I believe this is an online exclusive. So if you missed it, go in and check that out, Scalloped Wishes. And it has these beautiful, all these beautiful ovals and leaves and dragonflies, and yeah. So I have, I'm using soft sea foam for our background and for some of our, for this piece. We're using gray granite as our layered piece. And then I use basic white, of course, for this. I think it's called Lazy Daisy. I apologize if that's not right. I know that it was sold out for a bit. It also just came out, I believe, as an online exclusive. And it's just so pretty. It's a 3D and just has lots of dimension, as you can see. All right, we are going to tie our bow to go around here. And to make it really easy, I'm just going to take a piece like this. I add a little extra piece for the swoop. And then I can just tie that right around my finger, or you can grab something like a bottle of glue or something. But I just tie it around my finger, tie a knot, pull that nice and tight, take that off, give that a little snip, and then I've created that perfect little knot. And that's going to go right, maybe up here a little bit. And we're going to glue that on the back. You can use a glue dot for this if you want, or some what do I say, tape runner, but not liquid glue. Don't use liquid glue to try to put ribbon on. It will not dry forever. And I do like to go over my ribbon to give it that second amount, but don't try to run glue on your ribbon before it's attached to a card, because it will not, it will just stay on your runner and will not go onto the ribbon. And you'll just waste it. So, word to the wise, doesn't work. Trust me, I've tried it. All right, and then this is a solid background piece, and I'm just going to lay that flat on my card. And my bow's over here a little bit, so I'm going to just scoot it as close as I can. I think that's straight. It's the only problem with ovals. I really have trouble telling if they're straight or not. And then this piece was cut out together. They cut out together. We're going to use both of those. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue here. And maybe so that I don't have a huge mess, I'm just going to put it right in the center of all of those scallops so that I don't have to add more. And then these will line up with the scallops on the green piece. So that makes it nice. We're going to have to hold that down for a second while I get this ready to stamp. Oh my goodness, I love, as much as I love mushrooms, I love cat o' nine tails. I don't know why. I think I'm very thankful that God created so many beautiful things for us to enjoy. I know I need this stamp, but what can I sit on here? I'll put this black pad on here. Okay, let's get this stamped. So soft sea foam for this. We're going to just stamp that up across here. Let me just wipe that off in case it felt like there's something else on there, because you can see I stamped it in this in pecan pie and it sort of looked like that. And then in my gray granite, I am stamping this cute little dragonfly. And so he's almost invisible, but I hope you can see him. And he's just so sweet. So much detail. Like he has all the leafy little designs on there. And then I am using So Very Happy For You in the black, which comes from this set as well. And we're going to stamp that right on top of everything here. All right, and then I am going to pop this piece up to give it some dimension. I'm just trying not to get my fingers on the front here because I don't want it to smear it in case it's not quite dry yet. but this should be dry. So let's bring that back over, and we can add this. And then we'll add our gems, and voila. These are the pearls of beauty, and they're nice and flat like our antique pearls are, but these are really white. So they look really nice on this card because of the shininess and how pretty and white they are. So you can put them on top of one of the flowers if you want, or put them anywhere. I'm going to choose flowers because there's many of them. I really wish I remembered the name of this folder. If anybody knows it, go ahead and type it in, please. It's got something to do with Daisy, so I think if you search Daisy, you'll find it. But all right, so hopefully you liked how quick and easy that one was compared to the others, right? And I promised you some other samples, so hold on 1 second. Okay, I promised if you stayed till the end, I would show you some more cards. After my last video, I played some more with all of the different colors of paper and a new embossing folder. Check out that fern. Is that gorgeous? That's coming out next month. And this little die here is from a new set that's coming out called Phrases and Frames, and has beautiful fonts and gorgeous frames. Check out those. All right, and then this one is, this embossing folder came with the Lily of the Valley set. And I don't remember what it's called, but can you see the Wink of Stella that I put on there? I don't know if you can see that shimmer. I just colored over a little bit, and I didn't add a tag on this one, but this finished card with a tag on it will be the ones that my team are getting for last month's sales awards. This one is our blush, Barely Blush, and a new scallop set, and I sponged the edges just to darken and make that stand out a little bit more. But isn't that Get Well gorgeous? It's embossed on there. And then this one is the one I posted Monday night when I said that I couldn't be live. So I just stamped, and these just all of our ink colors. And then I had to use this. I showed you the die cuts, the pieces cut out, but I didn't show you a finished card with it. So I had to sit down and make a card with that set. So I hope it was worth staying for the whole thing. Thanks. Join me next week. God bless.